I'm gonna move myself over
There we go.
here, actually.
You guys, is this working? Can you see stuff? Can you see
Logan,
this?
you look way different than you used to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not me. Okay, chill. I don't look
That's
that
with the
handsome.
bowl cut.
All right. Okay, so we're just gonna walk through some stuff. If you have questions, please ask. First things first, before we even get into mechanics and shit, what I expect, especially from Group 1, is you guys showing up with full consumes and stacks worth of consumes in preparation of wiping. We are going to wipe. It is progression. We all got to learn. Stuff like this makes it easier on all of us that we don't wipe as much, but even after we go through all this stuff, I do suggest watch a couple videos. Platinum Wow has made 2 really good condensed videos, like 14 minutes each. Just go check those out. He talks about trash even. That's nice.
Can
He
I
talks
just?
about us?
Oh
go.
man.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say for consumables, I went through this weekend and put a bunch of stuff in the G Bank of some obscure stuff too that we might need. There's stuff like flame caps, which for burst phases in Kael'thas, Vosh, Leotheris, Solarian, stuff that can push us over the top. I've got plenty of scrolls. Just if we're gonna take stuff, I ask you just donate just a small portion of what you would to the G Bank, and we can keep it going. We'll have repairs for the entire phase. We put in haste potions, all sorts of flasks, any enchanting materials. Get your stuff enchanted if you haven't. And people won gear tonight. Let's do it. Don't hesitate and let's use it. Yeah.
We have all this stuff saved up. Ambassador.
I can't really
rank,
hear you,
class
Volcane.
lead- Ambassador rank, class lead rank are all able to draw infinitely from them. So hit up your class lead / ambassadors. Donate all that stuff. Okay. Come prepared. Come repaired. Come with good attitudes. Wipes are gonna happen. Most of you guys have raided with me for 2 years now. You know that you don't freak out and raid, or you don't get to raid. Period. So here we go. Let's talk about some actual mechanics. This is the very first pull of the raid. I wish you guys can you guys see my cursor on my screen if I do?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see
Yeah.
it.
All right,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
So this skull mob right here, we focus those down first. We'll tank. I'm not sure what these guys do, but we will all stack at the bottom of this ramp for this first pull with the range behind, because it's triangle. This beast tamer mob will charge randomly like the ones in Gruul's Lair, but they're more unforgiving. Skull and X, they just do a silence, an AoE silence, so that's why we kill those first. The spore bats also do a charge. Pretty much it's gonna just, as long as Skull and X die and we are all stacked, it's pretty much just tank and spank. Let's see here.
Whoa, they kill that fast.
Yeah, so they're all stacked at the bottom. It's also important to note that they cleave, so Tuna and Nitro obviously will face all this stuff away from the mobs. Next mob is the Colossus. Pretty much just like a tank and spank here. They do a bunch of different. They hit hard. He does a frenzy. He'll channel a random player. This is important to know. It's called Acid Geyser. Whoever he targets, you're just gonna run the other way and face the mob away from the raid. So he's facing away here. If he targets a random player, here he comes. He's moving them. Okay, so he targeted the tank there. He's doing the Spore Quake, which is like an AoE damage. Pretty basic stuff. Not gonna have any problem with these mobs. Just don't be stupid. Let's keep going. Same exact pack. I'm just trying to make this quick because we got a lot to talk about, guys, and it's easier once we actually start doing it. Same exact thing for this. We'll stack, see where he's pointing, kind of over here. Another Colossus is afterwards, and then I think that's just 4 trash pulls, and then 5 trash pulls, and then the first boss. We'll get to the boss. First
Okay, and
boss.
I'm curious, are we gonna skip Hydros right off the bat and go for tier
I
or
So I was thinking about this too. I think if we have the preparation, which we do with our tanks, I say we give it a try. We'll see how it goes, but I would like to probably just get a pull in on them, see how it goes. I mean, we got pumpers, dude. I think we could do some good things.
yeah, I don't see it being too difficult.
Yeah.
It's just the management of the ads, and if we have 3 hunters with misdirect and the paladin tanks, I mean, we'll be set.
Yeah, my guild from TBC, which was not good at all and had like 7, 8 minute rule kills, like killed Hydros without a lot of issues. So I think
Right.
we shouldn't have a lot of issues either. I mean, it might take a couple pulls, but we'll get it.
So first things first, Hydros. Pretty much has two phases. He's got a water form and a poison form. Um, You see him as in his water form or his ice form right now. These two flags right here, this flag and this flag, works as like an invisible line. When you tether him across this, so if I were to drag him towards the raid right here, he's going to turn into his poison form, and then when you drag him back, he'll go into his water form. Poison form, the tank with nature resistance, obviously is the tank for that, and frost resistance, obviously for the water form. Um, every time that he is pulled across the invisible line and changes forms, it is a threat reset. So, especially you pumpers, you need to take it easy, let the tanks establish, and then get pumping. Also, when he crosses his line, he spawns 4 tainted spawns of Hydros. The the third tank who is not wearing resist gear will be the ad tank. For those, you just group them up, AoE them down, blah blah blah. In each form, he's got 2 separate abilities. He does a water tomb. He'll stun a random player and all players within 5 yards. It's kind of like the ice tomb that Kel'Thuzad does. So we need to be spread out decently, especially the melee. And whoever gets ice tombed or water tomb needs to be focused heals, and anyone that gets splashed tombed also needs to be healed. It's going to happen. So the main concept of this fight is pretty much you get a debuff that is stacking, and every minute or every 4 stacks of the debuff, the tanks need to whoever's tanking needs to drag them across, and the other tank needs to pick them up, keep them in their desired form. Every 4 stacks, you swap, and that's pretty much the entire fight. What am I forgetting
There's
here?
also the Mortal Strike Sludge dot,
Oh, the
and
vile sludge. Yes, 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 yes.
I'm not 100% sure. I think it stays nature the entire time, and I
It
did
is. It
make
is strictly nature.
okay, and I made potions for that. So if you have that happen to you, you just pop a potion, and then we'll get shields on you, and no one
Yep.
should die.
It's applied to a random player, so yes, we'll get those passed out for progression. Thank you, toys. But yeah, so that's the fight. So you drag them back and forth. When market corruption is stacked up to 4 times, we'll say Tuna's the nature tank. He drags it over to the frost side, in which threat is reset. Where we'll say Nitro is the frost tank. He gets the boss situated. Then he gets 4 marks of Hydros, it's called, which is a frost stack, and then you just rinse and repeat. And that's it. And remember, every time he's crossed over, it's a threat reset, and is also uh, 4 ad spawn that need to be dealt with. So it's nice when the threat reset happens. No one should be hitting the boss anyways, giving the tank time to get the threat. You should be killing the ads.
And
Just
number one thing is no dots after a certain point. It's like with Leothris too, with the threat reset.
yeah.
You can't have dots for the last like 10-15 seconds. You're gonna
Like
transition.
Anixia.
Right. So it's all about just like you'll see a lot of these bosses are just a lot about teamwork, guys. It's not about fucking being #1 damage, especially in progression. We will all get to the point where we're doing the cheese strats, where I'll get 99s, but for progression, I need you guys all doing the mechanics and focusing that more than anything else. So you see they got the frost side. I wish I don't. Okay, we can see the marks here.
And they popped Lust right away for
Mhm.
burst max damage.
Yeah, decent spread. Everyone's kind of spread out. It's short range, so 5 yards. See how they handle the transition. Wish I could see the marks on the tank. Okay, there's the
Okay.
last mark. They're dragging him over.
Or did he pop a rage potion there? Or heroic potion? Yeah, he popped a heroic potion.
He popped
for
the
aggro.
haste. I think he
Oh,
popped the haste.
haste?
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
haste pop.
Yeah, cool.
So they just stack the ads on top of the boss. Everyone is situated, good to go. He's watching his marks, and that's the whole fight. As you see, the shaman's using his nature resist totem. All that stuff will be used in all of our groups. Easy clap. All right, let's keep moving here. Don't want this to take forever. Okay, some new trash mobs here on the way to Lurker. These honor guards, you see the bigger ones. They do an enrage, they do an AOE fear. So we need trimmers down. We need a knock. They do a knockback. So the tanks need to be facing not the water, or their backs not towards the water, or put their backs up to a wall. And then they do a mortal strike cleave. So be behind those melee. The priestesses are kind of a bitch. We will focus them down. They just do a holy fire, and then they do when they die. If I remember correctly, they as they're dying, they do a holy nova. They like spam it, and it hits, and it heals and hits really hard. So I forget if you can stun that or not. We'll figure that out though. There's another type of mob here. I think it's called the Shatterer, and they just the Coilfang Shatterer. They just reduce the armor of the main tank by 50%. So looks like they're killing the what they got marked skull, the Shatterer first. So they're killing Shatterers first, while AOEing the priestesses, while the honor guard is tanked away, which is probably what we'll do because of the knockback and the cleave. Group all these up, and then finish the honor guard last. That's pretty much all the trash till lurker. It's more of the same, pretty much. We can also use CC here if needed. Another thing important to note is these things that pat around, they have a giant aggro range, like fucking huge, like a football field. So everyone needs to pay attention to those or they will cause wipes. All right, let's get to Lurker. Lurker's a fun one. We'll get someone who has at least 300 fishing to fish him up. He is a one tank fight as far as the actual boss tanking goes, but Tuna and Nitro, you will help with the other ads that spawn. So he's got a couple abilities. I'll just play it while I talk. Couple abilities, nothing crazy. First off, if no one's in melee range, which just shouldn't happen, he just water bolts random players and it will one-shot you. So I will make sure I'm always in range. Second major ability is called Geyser. It's like a conal AoE knockback. He'll target a random player, and all players within 10 yards get hit into the water and knocked back. So if you got time to run away from that player, please do. It's kind of hard to avoid, though. The other thing, the major thing he does is spouts. So it can be
There it is, yeah.
clockwise. Yeah, this is spout. It could be clockwise or counterclockwise. So you got to be careful. The way you avoid it is you see players have jumped in the water here. You can also jump in front as well. You want to avoid getting hit by that because it shoots you across the fucking map. And the tank was smart there. He knew where it was going to end, so he didn't have to jump back in. Um, as soon as Spout ends, he does his second or his other major ability, which is Whirl. So every melee player needs to have in the back of their mind, after Spout ends, wait for him to whirl, then run in. Whirl is going to do some moderate physical damage. It's used every 18 seconds or always after Spout. So you can't avoid it every time, but the times you can, especially after spout, you should 100% avoid it. It's just a whirlwind. Just just move out of it. After 2 minutes, he submerges, and then you see these ads spawn. What needs to happen is everyone needs to focus the guardians down first. This is where the off tanks come in handy here, and we need to make use of CC. You see, this one was feared. I saw an ice trap over here. You can polymorph them. We'll have players positioned on platforms to make sure we have appropriate CC on each platform with tanks ready to go. Guardians first, then priestesses die. They cleave, or the guardians cleave, the one on the main platform, this dead thing here, so stay away from them. The ambushers, which are the ones on the outside, they do a multi-shot. So
It looks like they are leaving 2 of them polymorphed.
yeah, probably just to get everyone in position, because if you kill them all, he immediately spawns. So I could see us maybe leaving one polymorphed, everyone get in position, finishing the last ad, something like that.
I don't even know if they're killing them. No, they're still polyed.
I guess you just don't have to.
Yeah, if you just
Yep.
keep them.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I'm
this
pretty
is
sure.
PTR or what, but
It's PTR. I'm pretty sure it's like a really good guild, so we should definitely kill the mobs. Like, not take
What are
the
you trying to
risk.
say, dude?
we will kill the mobs for progression for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I definitely think it's a good idea.
So just to reiterate, Guardians, the 3 Guardians first, and then the 6. There's 2 on the 3 platforms of the ambushers. We need to CC those while we kill Guardians, and then kill the ambushers while they're being tanked. And we need to face them away from the raid so they don't do their AoE stuff. That's the whole fight. So rinse and repeat. That's the whole entire fight. I believe when he re-submerges, the threat is reset. So once again, you need to melee. You need to chill. It shouldn't be a problem if you just let him hit me one time, so I get rage. So a lot of this stuff for progression, like I said, is just us doing mechanics correctly and everyone just getting used to the fight. But that's the entire fight. Keep moving. So
One early positioning thing is that you need to make sure the Fisher is at the farthest range, because if you do it anywhere closer, then you can just get one shot at the start of the fight too.
truth.
And same thing with every reset. You have to be at the farthest edge, otherwise you can just get one shot before the tank is able to pick it up.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know Zodic is ready to fish, so should be okay. He's a hunter.
Yeah, I got it ready too, just in case.
I have fishing too.
All right, so now we're walking to Leotheris, which will be the 3rd boss. We've seen this trash. Actually, there's different ones in this pack. I thought this was more the same, but so now we get the Tide Collar packs. These things fucking suck. The Nether Mages, which is marked Moon, will probably polymorph them. They do just a lot of fucking damage. The Cone of Cold, Rain of Fire, Firebolt, Frostbolt. They do a Arcane Lightning, which is like a chain lightning with arcane damage, but silences you. They blink, they scorch, they do an Arcane Volley. They can also buff themselves, and this buff can be spell stolen by our mages. So one of them increases your spell damage by 350. Another one, okay, they're all increases your spell damage by 350, just depending on what they have. An arcane fire and frost one. So you guys, the mages, can spell steal that. That'd be good. But we'll probably see that one. These serpent guards, they do a spell reflex, so don't kill yourself with that. And they have like this devotion aura thing that goes on, just shadow damage, or it reduces armor and does shadow damage over time.
It's the opposite of a devotion aura, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's undevotion.
Yeah, and then the number one thing I would always see that would kill us on private servers was the totem that would come out in elemental. I don't know if you're able to banish it in retail, but you would banish the water elemental and then kill the totem as fast as possible.
Yes, that's what they have marked with skull. I was just getting to. It's the Tide Collar. That's the biggest biggest concern of these packs because of what Toys said, the water elemental totem. It's going to spawn it instantly. We need to banish it and then kill the totem, ignore the water elemental while it's banished. The other thing he does a poison shield on himself. It needs to be purged as it deals damage to the whole entire raid. So shamans, when the nature shield goes out from the skull, it needs to be purged. He also does another poison, which will have poison cleansing down. Will go out on the raid, and he has just frost brand attacks. He goes down quick. We'll use cooldowns. Trash is a big deal in TBC, guys. Like no one needs to be checking out on trash. We need to be using 2-minute cooldowns and gaming for trash. They're cleaving all these down. We'll get to that point eventually. They sheep those two in the back. We'll make sure we're using sheeps too. The Skulker, which is the square right there, is just a rogue. He just will kick randomly. And those are pretty much all those packs until we get to the cave. For Leotheris. There's another one, the Fathom Witch, the Coilfang Fathom Witch, which I think it's sheeped back there. He will MC a player, Shadow Bolt, and do Shadow Novas too. So they're sheeping the Nether Mage and the Fathom Witch, which is probably what we'll do as well. So there's another big Colossus. Just remember, if he targets, it's like the last boss of Underbog. If he's targeting that player, you need to run away.
J-Pain sucks.
Is J-Pain in here?
Yes, he's in here.
Sweet. The paint. So here's the Fathom Witch just so you guys can see. God, I don't know what the fucking add-ons this guy's using.
Yeah, they think the Fathom, which is like really far away.
Yep. So they won't MC random players. We'll do that as well. I like that. Okay, getting up to Leo. I thought there was like some Spore guys. Maybe that's after Leo. Some more trash. Oh, there's the Spore guys. These guys kind of suck. The lurkers. Yeah,
definitely the hardest part about this is the mushrooms, and then but also is pulling 2 packs at once.
It's pretty pretty tight in this room. I know some good kill spots though. So the Spore guys, you'll see the Rancid Mushroom, you'll see the dead Spore guy over here. What's it actually called? They're called Serpentine Lurkers. So they do a Poison Bolt Volley, puts a Poison debuff on you, does a Shadow Bolt, which is it does an instant Shadow Bolt, and then he'll spawn Rancid Mushrooms. They grow over time, people take damage from them, and they turn into a Spore Cloud afterwards. Just move away from them. The thing that makes it difficult is moving away from them and not pulling additional packs. So we'll make sure we position those correctly. But yeah, if those guys are bitches, we'll kill them first. That's the trash. That's all the trash, at least up to Leo. Let's talk about Leo. All right, so Leo, the fight starts. He is banished. We got to kill the tie collar guys that are banishing him. Easy clap. And then he turns into his human form for phase 1, which is pretty basic tank and spank. So phase 1, he's got one ability. It's Whirlwind. He'll sit there and he'll Whirlwind. Melee needs to run out. It's important to note, like Hydros, before we change from Toxic to Frost or Frost to Toxic, that we drop dots. We'll do the same thing for post whirlwinds. After every whirlwind is a threat reset. So, and he does it every. I'm not sure
it's
how
like
often.
it's pretty often. It's like 15 or 20 seconds. Like you don't get very much time. His armor is lower and resistances are lower in this phase, but you just don't get as good of an opportunity to damage him. But like with Whirlwind, like you have to get out of the way. Even one stack or 2 stacks is instant death, basically.
Yep, puts a bleed on you. So he drops. He's not tauntable, and threat is reset after every whirlwind. That's phase 1. So just pay attention to that. Phase 2 and how they're all spread out is how we need to be, because he's going to whirlwind around. and we all need to be spread. Phase 2, he turns it to his demon form, in which one of our warlocks will tank that has a high fire resist and high stamina as well. They will spam Searing Pain and just stand away from the raid. The reason why you stand away from the raid that will be standing alone is because he does a Chaos Blast. Excuse me. He does a Chaos Blast, which is just like it's like a Chaos Bolt, but when it hits you, it does AoE damage all around. See, as you see, he just did on the tank right there. So here's their Warlock tank. Everyone's away from him. He is established. Now DPS is running in. Everyone's staying away from him while he tanks. This is all of phase 2.
Here's the Insidious Whisper. He got one of the inner demons.
Yes, the other mechanic, Inner Demons. After I think it's about 25 seconds, he'll target up to 5 random players, and he's going to give you Inner Demons, and it's just one demon that spawns, I think, and you are the only person that can kill your demon is you. You are responsible for your own demon. If you don't kill it, then you are mind controlled for 10 minutes, and we lose you for the whole rest of the fight. So
It's
this guy got
pretty
mind
much a
controlled.
wipe. Yeah.
This guy got MC'd, so he didn't kill his demon fast enough. That is your priority when you get inner demons. That is all you're doing is killing your demon. That is the fight until he hits 15% health. Once he hits 15%, he splits into his human form and demon form at the same time. All the mechanics are going out, the whirlwinds, the chaos blast, the inner demons. What we do at this point is our warlock just picks up the demon form, and we just focus on the human form. And once you kill the human form, the fight's over. So we'll just focus on the human form, and that's the fight.
And that's part of the where it's like haste pots and consumables, flame caps, anything you can do to do more damage and pump it out.
Trying to think some pro. Yeah, I know Smite's really good here for the priests.
Yeah, it's arcane damage. He's weak to arcane damage and the Insidious Whispers. Holy damage is really strong. Nature damage, but then it's like fire and shadow. I think on the inner demons are really bad. So it's a tough. I mean, warlocks have a lot of inherent
I
damage.
know
So
Moonfire is really good against inner demons.
yeah.
Lightning Shield from Shamans is really good, and so is Searing Totem. Those are just some little tips I'll go over once we're actually there. But let's keep this going.
That whirlwind though, that thing is no joke. That is a non-DPS phase.
Yeah, that thing
Your
hurts.
only job is survival.
Yep.
Yep.
Like I said, I'll keep repeating this as we are doing all this new content, but especially with this next jump in content, a lot of it is just we got to do mechanics and, follow threat meters, follow just executing mechanics and make all of our lives easier, and then the parsing will come later on. All the trash to Fathom Lord is all the same. There's nothing new. Just same Colossus, more Tide color packs. And then we get to Fathom Lord. Fathom Lord's kind of like High King in the sense it's a big boss with ads. We're gonna kill the ads first. I'll go over what they all do. We're gonna kill the hunter ad first. I've seen it done 2 ways. I've seen the hunter ad Sharkus died first, and I've also seen the
Totem guy.
The totem guy. We're gonna tank them all in different spots in the room. The priest needs to be tanked far away from everything else because she will try to heal. The hunter mob needs to be tanked in the opposite corner of the priest mob because he's gonna multi-shot the raid. There's a lot of abilities going on here, but it's really not that bad of a fight if everyone just does their job right. So we're going to say we're going to kill Hunter guy first. They have the Shaman guy marked for death first. I don't know. I've always done Sharkus first, so that's just what I've done.
Yeah, that's what I've done too. It's basically just whichever you think is stronger. I mean, healers and the main tank are gonna be put to more work
I'm
if you
curious
kill
to
the
see
hunter
who
guy
they
first.
think these. So they have the Misdirect, the Priestess across the room. They're stacking these two, which I've always spread these out because there's additional damage going on, which we will spread out at the start. But so we'll have one tank on Sharkus.
Honestly, this is a good strat of stacking them, really, and then Westing.
So he's going to Sharkus, which is the hunter one, which is marked X. He will summon a pet that will reduce my threat and knock me down, and knock me back. He does a drain health and mana to players. That's why a lot of people kill him first because he will drain literally everyone's mana if you leave him up too long. He throws his trident. The important thing is when he dies, he buffs the boss, and it's called the Beast Within, and the boss will hit 30% harder, but it's really not that bad still. So we kill him, then we move over to Tidal Vest, which is the Shaman. He drops a bunch of totems. The main thing about him is he drops a totem called Spitfire Totem, much like the Lightning Totem in Naxxramas off of the giant ad and patchworks room. We got to kill the totem or it's going to just one shot the raid. When he dies, the boss Fathom Lord gains the ability to drop the Spitfire totem, which they're killing right now if you're watching. So we got to be killing Spitfire totem the whole time. That's priority. The priest just heals in the back. It's kickable. It also does a stun and summons a tornado, which will throw you around the room. So move out of the tornado, kick the heel, have Frost Frost Aura on because she does a water bolt volley, and then the Tidal Surge, which stuns players within 10 yards for 3 seconds, used every 10 to 15 seconds, and that is the ability that transfers to the main boss when she dies. So once you kill the 3 bosses, the main boss now hits 30% harder, drops a fire totem that will nuke the raid, and then also does an AoE stun every 10 to 15 seconds that lasts for 3 seconds within 10 yards. So that's the fight. It's just an ad management fight. I know it sounds like a lot, but once we see it and practice it, we'll get it down. I do like stacking those. Maybe we try that and we'll let us get the extra damage.
And
So
then
yeah.
it looks like they have the hunters stay on Fathom Lord the entire time and kill the Spitfire when the casters are on the
On
Sea
the
Witch or
healer in the
whatever.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do something like that because those totems are no fucking joke.
Yep.
That's Fathom Lord. It's just there's a lot going on at once. The first initial, the initial 10 seconds is the hardest part. So once we get that down, there's the AoE stun, the title.
Right at the same time as the Spitfire.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that didn't look too bad.
Moving on. Trash to Mogrim. These are all the same shit, just different variations. See the Shatterers that reduce the armor, they're killing those first. The Serpent Guards, which do the cleave and the AoE fear. And the Fathom Witches, which do the silence and the mana drains. So kill a couple more of those, and then we go to old Tidewalkie. This guy hits hard, so I will be wearing a lot of mitt gear. As you see, their tank has swapped to pretty heavy mitt himself. This guy slaps, so this is going to be one where you guys, like, for progression especially, if I'm wearing full mitt and not going for threat, you guys got to take it easy so we get some kills until we're all geared up and pumping. This guy isn't too complicated. There's just a couple different things he does. Let me pull up my notes here. Give me a sec. Old Tidewalk. So they're gonna tank him probably right where I'm moused over right now at the start, And then once he hits his last phase, they're going to drag him in this corner, and we'll go over why. First things first, he does an AoE tidal wave, or they're starting in the corner. It's a conal attack, reduces my attack speed by I don't know, 30%, I think, for 15 seconds. So that's already fucking my thread up, but that's okay. Just don't stand in front. There's the frost cone. I'm the only one that should ever get hit by that. His main ability is called Watery Grave. He's going to teleport 4 people over to the center of the room, and they're going to put them in a water bubble, and those players are going to be taking frost damage. And some fall damage too, because I believe it starts. You're ported in the air, and it's every 30 seconds. Those players just got to be healed. They got to be healed through that. So healers will
Looks
be
like 2 people already died in his group. It's sort of like the earthquake happens, and then everyone has to be topped off ASAP, because if you get watery graved with like 60% hit points, you're gonna die.
Right. So he's going to earthquake every 45 to 60 seconds. So when that happens, like Toys just said, you're getting topped off before watery graves, because if you get an earthquake and then into a watery grave, it is instant death. And yeah, it's
a
going to
watery
cause
grave.
Exactly. So that's and then the Murlocs. You see these Murlocs. He summons 2 packs of 6 Murlocs, which attack the raid, used after every earthquake. So our pally tanks will be picking those up. Everyone in the raid will be pretty stacked, so we'll just AoE those down on top of the boss. Those are easy to deal with. Those will be the least of our problems. So that's the fight. Earthquake, top everyone off, teleports people into the watery grave. Got to heal them through that so they don't die. And then he reaches 25%. He stops using watery grave. But now what happens is he summons the watery globules that you were trapped in, and they slowly move towards a raid. And this is why we pull him in the corner, to give us enough room to kill him before the globules reach us. But if we're not killing him fast enough, we'll have to be kiting him around the room, which will then cause further problems, because now the Murlocs are kind of more scattered, and his conal attack people may be in front of him, stuff like that. So
Usually, we can kind of cheese that by running down the tunnel. I think it's like 1 or 2 healers have to stay behind to heal you, and then everyone else can just run a little bit down the tunnel, like 10 or 15 yards, and they'll despawn by the time that happens.
Interesting.
That could be a private server thing. Did they do that on the PTR too?
Let's see if they do the tunnel. That's where they're tanking them, though. It looks like they're tanking them so they can cheese it. So like everyone would run in. They'd just run into the tunnel, and the water globules will despawn, because they take like 10 or 15 seconds to despawn.
Bottom line is, once he hits 25%, it's pretty much avoid the globules that are. See how hard he hits. This guy fucking collapses. The tank has 20k health too. So
Actually, right now he's 0 health.
And
On a roll tonight,
so
dude.
at 25%, name of the game is stay away from the globules, heal up everyone after earthquake, blah blah blah. That's the fight. He just hits really hard, and everyone's just do your jobs. And now we get to Lady Vosh, and they wipe on him for a while. Okay, Lady Vosh, a lot going on here. Okay. Lot going on. This is a fun one, guys. Phase 1's pretty basic. I'll tank her in the middle. She does a shock blast, which is just stuns me for 5 seconds. Important to note, whoever is the shaman in my group should be dropping grounding totem, because it will soak that, and I don't have to be stunned for 5 seconds, which is a long time, especially with pumpers in the raid.
Do they kill her?
Oh. Or do they kill her?
Yeah. Let's just if that was the kill all the way at the end.
Doesn't look like.
Oh yeah, they didn't. Okay, dang.
I personally want to watch the wipes.
Okay, let's see. I just want to get it going while I'm talking about it.
The football toss is the hardest part.
We can get a macro for that.
Yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
gonna
So you
create
see
that.
him dropping grounding totem for me for the tank. Phase 1's easy. We should have 0 deaths. If we're dying in phase 1, we'll never kill this boss. So she does a multi-shot. It's in a cone in front of the boss. So if you're positioned where she's facing, you're gonna get hit by it. Hits up to 5 players. It's used on a random player. So she'll just target players and do raid damage. So heal that up. The biggest thing in this phase, besides dropping the grounding totem for me, freedom works there, I guess, is that static charge is dealt with. It's pretty much you become a live bomb, and if you get the static charge, you need to run away from the raid. Applies to random player debuff that deals considerable nature damage to affected player and all players within 5 yards last 15 seconds. That's phase 1 till 70%. Easy. That's literally the easiest part of this fight for sure. Phase 2 is when shit gets crazy. She goes into the center, as you see right here, and you see these generators. There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 1 down here, 4. We're all going to have assigned areas here, spread out evenly for slows and damage and CC and all that stuff. There's going to be 4 different types of mobs that spawn during this phase. This first one you see, believe this isn't the tainted one, I don't think. This one is called
it's not.
Enchanted Elemental. There's 2 elementals that are going to spawn. There's going to be one that's like watery looking, and there's one that's going to be poison looking. The watery looking ones, there's 8 of them that spawn, I think. At the very beginning, they have very low health, like 7k health. They need to die instantly from everybody that sees them. When they reach, they're going to slowly walk towards Vash, and when they reach Vash, they explode, and they do raid-wide damage, and they will wipe us. So that's the first mob. We kill those first. Second mob I'll talk about is this Coilfang Strider. Hopefully he turns around and sees it. It looks like the last boss of Underbog, like that big fucking, the Zangermarsh looking fuckers. I don't know how to explain
Boss
it.
Strider.
but-
Jellyfish,
The
basically
fen,
jellyfish.
they're called fen striders.
Okay. We'll have a hunter or a shaman, probably a hunter, kite it around the room. Everyone else is going to be dotting it when it's close to them. The reason being is they're very they walk very slow. They have a lot of health. They spawn every 60 seconds, so they do need to die or will get overran. But what they do is they have an aura that causes everyone within 8 yards of them to run in fear for 4 seconds. So, and they will do a mind blast to which hunter here he is on the right here. So we'll have a hunter tank this and just kite it around the room as it slowly dies. There's the aura you see for the fear, so melee literally can't hit it. It's up to range DPS. He will mind blast the hunter. Looks like they have a shaman tanking him. It doesn't matter, just someone needs a tank and dragging around. That's the second type ad. Third type ad, before I get to the main one, is the Coilfang Elite, which is what you saw him tanking earlier. Melee will focus these down. They do a hamstring on the tank, and they do a cleave. So please, God, don't. Just burn in your brains right now, everybody, that in these raids moving forward in every phase now, if you are not a tank, you need to be behind every mob always. Just never be in front of any mob ever. So yeah, don't be in front of the mob. So these ones I will pick up, and melee and any range DPS that have a spare second will help kill these. Those are the 3 ads. And then there's the 4th major ad, which is how we get out of this phase. They're called Tainted Elementals. They look like the enchanted ones right here, but they're green. They need to be first kill priority. They spawn at the edges of the map around here in the water, and they have low health, but they despawn in 15 seconds. When they die, they drop something called a Tainted Core. we will have loot on free for all because whoever is there looting or whoever killed the mob needs to be able to loot it instantly. When you loot the tainted core, you cannot move. You are stuck in place. These tainted cores, you need them to disable these generators. You see, one has been disabled. They need 3 more cores to get out of this phase. So you pretty much set up a relay team. So, like, say this guy right here, and we'll say there's another player down here that just killed the tainted core. Someone killed the tainted Ellie down here. They loot the core. They're stuck in place. They throw it to this warlock who is now stuck in place. And you guys need to, when you get the core the first time, you need to drag the icon out on your bars or like somewhere on your interface so you don't have to play with your bags open. This guy's gonna get the core thrown to him from the original guy that killed the elemental. He's going to be stuck in place, and then he's going to throw it to the tank, who let's say is what's ideally would be right here, and then he's going to use it on the generator, and now they only have 2 left. And that is this entire phase. It's a lot to manage. A lot is going on. What makes this killable is good raid communication and clear comms, and everyone knowing what they got to do, and honestly just teamwork. You'll see here casting forked lightning. It's just during this phase she'll randomly target players and do a chain lightning ability. So it's nice to try to stay spread here as well.
You want to get a glass of water or something real quick?
Dude, I've been dealing with like this throat thing. Of course, right when I had this meeting.
COVID.
Got a hairball stuck.
So they're falling behind right now on just ad damage and everything, which is understandable. There's just a lot going on.
Right, we're gonna wipe to this, guys, and it's just we all need to learn. Everyone needs to do their jobs here, and we all need to just learn and practice this. It's not an easy one, but we will get it down, sooner than most people, and it's gonna be rewarding as fuck when we do. So, damn, this is cool how they can just fucking just like nope out of there like that.
Yeah. So that the core isn't 100% drop. It's just random.
It is
It's
100%.
100%, but the mob itself, the tainted elemental, has a very small window in which you can kill it
15
before it
seconds.
despawns. Yeah.
15 seconds. So when it spawns, just whoever's close needs to kill it, loot it, and get that thing tossed up. We'll have a map drawn out for starting positions, but obviously shit's gonna get wild.
So, okay, when you pick up the core, does it have like a timer on it?
No,
That it disappears?
you just can't move
It does. It has like a 2-minute duration, but you shouldn't
Yeah.
have it in your bags for more than 2 seconds.
Okay.
It just when you loot it, you cannot move. Like, it's not like you shouldn't move. It's you are physically unable to move. You're stuck in place.
Right.
That's why it's very important to have max range tosses so that you have the least amount of communication that's needed to get
Right.
it to the engine core. And the person that's going to be clicking on the core needs to be standing on it so that they can just immediately click on the thing.
And I can tell
and
you,
I don't think it'll be a tank that's gonna probably be in position. Usually we had a like a
Right.
priest.
It's usually not. I'm just using that as an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
So that's phase 2. Although let me get to phase 3. So once phase 3 starts, when all 4 of these go down, which knocks her to 50% health, she becomes attackable. Her threat is completely reset, so you need to wait, let the tank get established. Like I said, that is a common theme you will be hearing me say. She uses all of her phase 1 abilities, which is the stun on the tank, so we need the grounding back, the multi-shot, the static charge, which is your bomb, you need to run away. And then she has some other stuff too. She will spawn these toxic spore bats, and they spawn at a gradually increasing rate. They will drop toxic spore to the ground, which is like a giant poison cloud, and it spreads and gets bigger, and we need to move out of it. So phase 3 is all of phase 1 abilities plus spore bats.
And I was gonna ask if usually it's broken to have hunters have the increased range on that. I know it's a survival talent, maybe.
It is survival, so
Yeah.
only Zodic in our group will have it.
Yeah, but that's something where it's like it's ideal to spec into something like that for
Right.
extra range, but I think we'll be alright.
Um, there is something else that she does, but I didn't see it on the PTR. It's called Persuasion. So we'll just prepare for it anyways. She will randomly MC 5 players for 20 seconds, increases their damage and movement speed. They're immune to CC effects. This was removed early on back in early TBC, so I don't know if it's going to be in there or not. I'm not seeing any mind controls going out, so I don't think that's going to happen, but possibly an MC mechanic as well.
It happens.
That would be brutal.
It does happen, J-Paint?
You cannot CC them, but you can taunt them as a tank.
Okay, got you. Are you sure it happens? Because I was looking on PTR and I didn't see it happen.
Yes, I am sure.
Okay,
It
so
happened the most recent PTR that I did right before it shut down.
okay, got you. All right, so phase 3, like I said, is all the phase 1 abilities. Move out if you're the bomb. Drop the grounding totem. Kill the spore bats. Get out of the toxic spores. They drop to the ground. And when people get MC for 20 seconds, don't kill them. Have tanks pick them up. Also important to note, while transitioning from phase 2 to phase 3, as you can see right here, they left a bunch of ads up and they don't despawn. So when that happens, we need to make sure we're coordinating our last core to the generator with ads dying. Like we don't want to do it right when one of these striders is about to spawn or some shit like that. So but yeah, that's Lady Vash, and that is SSC in a nutshell. Let's get to TK.
That's the same, yeah, dude.
Same guy. Okay.
Dude, are you
real quick
advocating
here-
alcohol?
Yeah, of course. Dude, J-Pan I'm glad you came out and got some beers with me this past weekend.
Yeah, dude. Do it again
Good
this
time.
weekend.
You guys look fucking hot, dude.
Where the fuck did J Paint come from?
Thanks, bro.
Just chilling, bro.
We're hot. We were hot.
Smooth.
All right, let me get to notes here. Okay, now on to Tempest Keep. This trash fucking sucks. So we'll use CC a lot here, or sheeps and stuff like that. They're killing the healer mob first, which is the warden or some. I forget exactly what the marshal. It's I don't know, but so their skull marker. He's the healer. We'll kill them first. There's
Vindicator?
yes, the Vindicator. That is it. These are the let's see, Astromancer packs. So
Real,
the first to die should probably be the Astromancer and the Star Scryer. They do tons of raid damage and they do a mind control. Let's see how they handle this pull.
looks like they fear the 2 caster Star Scryers.
Okay, so
they're
they're
sheeping 'em.
CCing those. Yeah, they're CCing those ones. So we can either kill the MC or in the raid damage guys first, or CC them. Probably for progression, we'll probably CC them. Kill the healer first. Important to note the marshal, the legionnaire does the whirlwind and cleave, so they need to be tanked away. So this guy's in the corner here. That's a good spot. Everyone needs to be away from him, or he will delete you. They're fearing the Astromancer, keeping the Scryer sheeped because they do tons of damage. So these legionnaires, they just whirlwind and cleave. So tank them up opposite sides like they're doing. Easy clap. Just to go over these abilities just real quick. The Astromancer, which we will sheep, will blast wave, fireball volley. The Star Scryer will do a starfall and MC players. We'll kill the healer first, then the Legionnaires, then then the big damage guys, the Astromancer and the Scryer. Those guys suck. Then there's the little pat through here, which you saw. Those are called Marshall packs. They have a Squire and Marshals, and the Squires cleanse and they heal. They need to be interrupted, and the Marshal just needs to be tanked facing a wall, so that the tank doesn't get knocked back. See them right here. But yeah, these trash mobs are no joke. This is just the same thing. Here's the Marshall pack I was talking about. So I'll tank the skull with my back to the wall. X and triangle are going to need dedicated interrupts, rogues or shamans on them.
Rogue.
Yes, rogue. And yeah, does a whirlwind, pretty basic stuff.
That thing fucking hurts anything other than plate, so don't risk death.
So same thing here. We just talked about that. CC the big damage ones, kill the healer, then the warrior mobs, and then the CC targets, and then we get to these little packs here, the Phoenix Hawk packs, the hatchlings. They do an AoE silence. They do a wing buffet, which knocks back all players and reduces my threat. They need to be tanked in the corner of the hallway. They aren't too scary. We'll kill the falconer first, and we can just really all cleave it down. This stuff isn't too bad.
It's looking like they're not doing any AoE for a little while to let it establish aggro, and they're also only running one paladin tank. So
yeah, it's important to note that because of the wing buffet, like I just said. Let the pally tank get a couple takes of his consecration off, and then go crazy on it. Gives time to hit the falconer first. Those are those packs. I believe there's the big hawks too, right?
yeah, those are at the top of the steps.
Oh yeah, I love big hawks. What?
Forgot about these guys. They do a mana burn. I know that much. It's an AoE around the Phoenix Hawk, and it does damage based off your mana pool or something like that. He also will dive the furthest player away, and it's a charge and knocks back all players. So we'll put one of the hunters out and away from the group and have them soak those. Looks like they are just stacking though, so the whole raid doesn't get knocked. We could do that too. I kind of like that strat.
Yeah, and it's just a race against the clock because no one will have mana. Our healers won't have mana.
I see. There's a knockback. We have enough pumpers. It shouldn't be a problem. Those are those. They're pulling every single hawk in that corner. I kind of like that. Speed things up. Okay, then we get to old Alal. All right. Guy isn't too complex. There's two phases. First phase is he's going to land on these platforms. Important to note, he always lands on this one and goes clockwise until I'll get to it. But he always at the start of the fight will land here first and go clockwise.
The west one?
Say what, Faye?
Is that the west?
Looking like east here. No, I'm sorry, the most western platform.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Moving east, though. Yes.
Gotcha.
So he'll stand. He'll be at each ledge for about 30 seconds. Whenever he moves ledges, he spawns an ad, which will be down here, and needs to be tanked and killed. Each time it dies, Alar loses 2% of its max health, so that's how you get him into the next phase, is by killing those ads. It also explodes when it dies, so I'll just play it so you guys see a little bit. If there's no one in melee range, and this is where the strats for tanking is really important here, tanks. If no one's in melee range, he does a flank buffet, which hits like twice as hard as Blast Nova to the whole raid. So that's us tanks gotta know where to be on these ledges for phase 1. Then his other ability in this phase is called Flame Quills. And occasionally, instead of flying to the next ledge, he'll move to the center of the room and he deals massive fire damage to players standing on the ledges, which will be heals and tanks. And at this point, we jump down. When he flies in the middle, everyone will jump down. That is up top so they don't die to the flame quills, and the tanks will need to be in position to run back up and paying attention to where he will be landing. After he quills in the middle, he will either land at the westernmost platform or the easternmost. So me and we'll say Nitro will be at the bottom of this ramp watching, getting ready to run up. And tank him, and he'll choose which side randomly. So it could be either tank, and heals need to be ready to heal us when we run up there too. That way, the raid doesn't get flame buffeted.
I saw. I'm not sure which video it was, but I saw the tanks only had to run a certain distance down the little ramp there. So like you could probably only run halfway down the ramp.
To avoid the quills, is that what
You
you're saying?
need to be all the way. There's a white line, kind of a white tile. You need to be all the way down that. If you go on the ramp, you're gonna die.
Okay.
Yeah, just jump down.
Yeah, just jump
Better
down.
than
We'll
just
play it
jump down.
safe. Yeah, we'll play
Quick
it safe.
note: he doesn't actually go clockwise in this iteration. That was actually a
What?
nerf later.
So it's random?
Oh,
It is
no.
not random. He can only go one spot to the to his left or right, or directly across, or like directly across the room.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
not, yeah. So it's not random. It's just like, you know.
So they're all DPSing him right here.
You might see it here. Kind of watch it.
Let's see if he goes all the way around.
Right. So we went back. Is this? I didn't see the beginning. Is this where he started?
I don't think so. I think it was all the way west.
This is not where it started, but
okay.
So this is the one with 6 positions or 8?
This is six.
There's 6 positions on the PTR too. It's not the 4. Okay,
Yeah.
got you. I always thought it was the 4. Got you. Okay.
Yeah,
So there'll be a spot here where I'm looking, one ahead here, one over here, one back there, all 6.
So right now he could either go to his left or right or directly across the room.
Yeah, so
See?
he's going
Yeah, so he
across,
has,
and they have the tanks up there ready to go, and
so
he
he
needs to
went
get
one
there.
to his right, right?
Yeah, he needs to see the whole raid taking massive damage right now because there's no one there fast enough. So we need to have players. So that tank needs to ideally he was cheating this way too hard. He needs to be like right here probably. And
I didn't know if
they're well in advance.
If they were expecting that to be 6 spots.
I don't think they were, honestly. I wasn't either.
Me neither, yeah.
This
so
is
now he's going directly across.
So this is where everyone up top jumps down.
Never mind. And like, do you see how that tank kind of went up the ramp to start? Like, it's kind of hard to tell as a tank right away if he's flame quilling or if he's going.
The quills just went out, so this tank he just did a good job. He went back to his spot. They had 1 stack of the flame buffet, which is doable. Important to note, phase 2 starts when you get him to 0 here. It's not over when you kill him in phase 1. Let's see if they push it. So their tank, I'm watching their druid tank in cat form is over here, getting ready to run if he needs to. They haven't had an ad spawn, and if they
See, so he goes directly across, right? Left, right, directly across.
So we're getting, these are healer aggro. They have a tank ready to pick these up.
So J-Paint, how would you have what would be the tanking orientation then?
Stand in the middle.
Yeah, in between 2 spots of each time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So right now he can.
They did a good job on that transition.
Right. So right now for this tank, the only thing that could happen for this warrior tank we're watching is it come directly back to the spot he was at to cover it. If it goes left or right of where it is right now, the druid tank over there would just have to follow it and get it. Right, so it's gonna come. No, it's flame quill. Never mind. But
So they're the quills.
And he's halfway on the ramp and
that
not.
I wouldn't do that
Yeah,
honestly.
this
Yeah,
is
that's
dangerous.
risky.
You're just flirting with disaster on that one. Good job picking them up, though. We're about to see phase 2.
That's probably a very specific spot where he's standing.
Do you think
Yeah,
speed pots would be good right there just for the tank?
So, healer, so you see right there, when he hits 0, he's going to knock me back and do fire damage. What's your question, Faye?
I was wondering if speed pots might be useful for that for the tanks.
It
not
can
needed.
be. It can be. It shouldn't be needed, though. We need to be using other potions.
Yeah.
We just
Alright,
gotta
so
be on
phase
top of our
2.
positioning.
Phase 2, he doesn't fly between the ledges anymore. We just tank him down here. He does an ability called Melt Armor. Not seeing it on him, but it reduces my armor by 80% for 60 seconds. So this fucking sucks. It's healable. It's doable, but the boss isn't tauntable. You can let another tank overtake, but
He is tauntable. That's
Yeah,
the,
I thought you you cycle forth
Yeah.
between 2 tanks and then you have the ad tank.
weird because I was talking to some guy that played PTR. He said it wasn't tauntable, so I just
he
saw his
is
taunt though.
mistaken.
Yeah, his taunt
Yeah,
and
he's
it worked.
mistaken. Yeah, so that's the mechanic is the melt armor or whatever is a huge armor reduction.
80% for a minute.
Yeah, it's pretty much you can't tank it as that. Well, they wiped, but
Okay. Well, if he's tauntable, that makes my life easier. So, yeah, we'll have a tank swap for the melt armor. So when melt armor happens, tank swap. He does a charge randomly. It'll stun that player for 3 seconds. It also does fire damage as well, so that's something to be looking out for. You saw there on the wipe the flame patches on the ground. Let's see if I can't get back to that. These things stay out of the fire. Easy. That's the easiest thing.
It's looking like they're stacking pretty close together. I don't. When I did this fight, everyone was pretty spread out. Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing is why we spread out. It's called dive bomb. He flies up, targets a random player, and he turns into here. I'm about to see it. Turns into like a ball. Looks like they're just fucking soaking it.
yeah, you have to. It basically one like it's a meteor, right? And it'll one shot you if you don't stack for it. Everybody takes damage. It splits
Okay.
between all players.
I've done it spread out, but
Yeah, I think we've done it roulette style, dive bomb roulette.
Yeah, and you just die.
Well,
yeah,
I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay, well we'll stack for dive bomb. And,
yeah, something that will really help with that is something like Earth Ellie's Snake Trap from a hunter. They count as player IDs and it'll split the damage among them.
Yeah, snake trap would be big. Okay, cool. So we'll stack for dive bomb, pop some snake traps, that kind of shit, and Earth Ellies, and be able to soak that damage. But that's phase 3. Spots isn't too hard once we get some practice down on it, but yeah, that's it. Any questions? No.
Don't stand in fire.
Yeah, good question.
But the flame buffet or melt armor, whatever how it works, is 60-second debuff, 60-second internal cooldown on his cast. So basically, you'll for the full duration that you have the debuff, you'll the boss. Yeah.
All right, good to know. Good to know. All right, so they kill it here. Nice job. We'll deal with some new trash on our way to Void Reaver. Nothing crazy. These things, the Devastators, they do arcane damage and silence. It's called countercharge, and they do a knockback. So all 3 of us tanks will be generating threat on these because whoever he knocks back resets their threat completely. So it does a knockback, and he does silence. That is that. The Sentinels.
Pretty sure the knockback is a threat reset too.
It is, yes. These do an arcane explosion, just with all it's a melee range. It's called charged arcane explosion. We'll do an overcharge. It targets the tank with the highest threat. Does a lot of arcane damage. When the ability goes off, the other tank either needs to taunt or the healers need to instantly heal the tank that gets overcharged. He also does a trample effect that will hurt the melee. So these mobs kind of suck for melee. The Sentinels. Those are just two of them there, and then we get to these fun packs. Just a lot of trash. What we're gonna do? We'll kill the Devastator. We'll banish what they have marked as square and diamond. They're demons. And we'll sheep the Tempest Smith for all intents and purposes. I'll just go over about what they do. Remember, the Devastator does the silence and the knockback to the tank. The ones that we have banished, the Crystal Core Mechanics, they will shoot saw blades out to random players, puts bleeds on them, and they heal the golems. So it's important, or heal these Devastators rather. So it's important to keep them banished. The Tempest Smiths, which they have sheeped, which we will also sheep. These things hurt. They heal the golem. They buff the golem. They do a shell shock ability, which does fire damage and stuns all the targets in the area, and then they throw bombs like the Tex and Blackwing Lair. So we keep them sheeped. We'll kill them last. Or if once we're good at this trash, we can mind control the Tempest Smiths, and you can use all their abilities against these mobs. So it's kind of fun. I believe those are all the packs for until the next boss. Yes, looking like it. So we got to kill all these mobs in here, and then we can do Void Reaver. This guy's probably the easiest boss in here. Nothing crazy about him.
I'm curious if they do the G strat where everyone stacks and they have a hunter run around taking the blast.
But to see, so he does a knockback, which will reduce my threat. He does a ground and pound like the like the mini boss, like the mini bosses in Mechanar. Melee run out of that. It's an 18-yard range, so be max ranged if you are a ranged player. He has an ability called Arcane Orb. Puts the orb at position of a random player. After a few seconds, it will reach you and then explodes with strong arcane damage to all nearby players and silencing you for 6 seconds. It's used on range players only, so 18 yards away from Void Reaver. It can also be used on targets within 18 yards if there's no one outside that range. So he's only going to use it to range players. So if you are getting the orb, everyone needs to run away from you, and you're going to take damage. That's pretty much the fight. He's killed within 10. If you don't kill him within 10 minutes, which won't be our problem, he enrages. But we need 2 tanks for it because he's going to periodically reduce my threat with knockaway. So we'll have another tank building threat. He is not tauntable. He is not. So the swap on the tanks will simply happen when I get knocked back and lose threat. Yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty sure they're gonna do a stacking strategy. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So this is what I would recommend doing anyway. The grounds or the earthquake that he does is extremely healable, and by doing this, you basically just have hunters run around and bait them
and get the orbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do what's best for us. If we're having trouble with healing, then we'll spread out. If not, we'll stack. But we'll figure out what's best for us. There's the 2 strats, which is spread out and run away from the orbs, or have the hunter soak and heal through it. So we're pretty good. So I bet we can stack, but well, we'll figure out what's best for us for sure. But this is a pretty easy fight. As long as everyone's watching their thread and stuff like that.
Yes, so the threat reduction is also like a flat percentage reduction. It's 25 to 30% every single time. So look at the threat meter, know where you're at.
Easy clap.
Basically.
All right, some other trash before Solarian. I think, yeah, we got some new stuff. Let's see. We've got a Blood Knight, a Battle Mage, a Centurion, this Astromancer Lord. We got some other stuff from previous packs. They're killing the Astromancer guy. Does the most damage out of the. This is just a 3-mob pad, I think. So it's not a big deal. Keeping one of these CC'd for the Whirlwind. We've seen those mobs trying to get to something different. They're gonna wipe right here, maybe. Try to get Solarian's room so you can see the trash. Seen this stuff. Seen the Squire. Seen the Star Scryer. Legionnaire. Seen those. Okay.
I have a love-hate relationship with these packs.
These are like lesser versions of them. Kick stuff. They're stunnable. I guess those are before. Yeah, we've seen. I guess they're before Kel'Thas, the newer trash packs. Okay, so we've seen all that trash. It's just managing them or killing all the stuff around the room, like just clicking through. We've seen all that, so I will get to Solarian real quick. Let's see, talk about it while they're fighting. Looks like they have their tanks set up.
Yeah, they have the tanks soaking the missiles.
Yeah, which we'll do as well. So, I think she's just a one-phase. Yes, okay. So she'll randomly arcane missile people in the raid. That's one thing she does. Heal them. That's all you can do about that. She puts on something called Mark of Solarian, reduces your arcane resistance by 15, stacks up to 30 times. It's applied to every player every 45 seconds, one mark every 45 seconds. So as the fight goes on, you're going to be taking more damage because you have less arcane resistance. If you get targeted with the missiles, when you have 30 stacks of this, you are going to die. So there's a kind of race in that regard. She does something called Blinding Light, which is arcane damage to all players. Does it every 20 seconds, unavoidable, just raid-wide damage. Got to heal through it. Wrath of the Astromancer. This is the big part of this fight, which you see these two tanks are managing right here. Has several different mechanics. The Wrath of the Astromancer ability, first off, is going to apply the debuff to a random player. It does damage, arcane damage to all those players within 8 yards, but the damage is split evenly between the affected targets. After 6 seconds, the player with the debuff explodes, causing more damage, which doesn't split evenly to all players within 10 yards, and it launches you far up in the air, so you're going to take falling damage too. Only the exploded player is protected from the fall damage, so if you explode anyone else, you're going to get them killed from fall damage. If you're the guy with the debuff, you don't take fall damage. When that happens, it jumps to the next nearest player after 6 seconds. And that's what you're seeing these two tanks do. They're trading these marks, or I'm sorry, the Wrath of the Astromancer debuff and managing it so no one else has to manage it. That's what we'll be doing too. We need the tanks with heavy arcane resistance so they don't die. Every 50 seconds, Solarian is, if you've been watching, she'll just vanish. She'll vanish like a rogue, and she'll spawn those like mobs, 12 non-elite Solarian agents that just attack the raid. And after 15 seconds, she reappears, whether or not the ads are alive or not, and she spawns 2 priests. So When she vanishes, you got to nuke those ads within 15 seconds, and then when she spawns back with her, and this is a threat reset. Tank needs to get it. And she spawns 2 elite mobs called priests, and they have decent amount of health, and they have a couple abilities. They will silence everyone that is nearby. They will heal themselves and the boss, and they will smite the tank. Yes. What am I forgetting? Oh, when she reaches 20% health, this is probably, so here's this agents right there. When she reaches 20% health, this is like the final phase. It is also probably the easiest. Like once you hit this point, you pretty much win. She turns into a Void Walker. She doesn't use any of her previous abilities anymore. She just does a Void Bolt, which is shadow damage to the tank, and she will do a Psychic Scream, AoE Fear, so Tremors down. That's that fight. I know it's a lot, but we'll manage these stacks over here, so it's easier on the raid. That's the way to do it, I think. I've seen it done other ways, but having just high arcane resistance on your tanks so they can just trade those is probably the easiest way to do it. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Sounds
agree.
right.
Two
Does
tanks,
anybody
max
else need
resistance.
arcane resistance or just the
No,
tanks?
just the tanks, just 2 tanks. Gotta have 2 tanks with it, and they just 2 tanks that know what to do. When I will make sure we know what to do. But yeah, other than that, is everyone else stacks away from those tanks and control the ads. Kill the priests when they spawn. Make sure when she comes back from the vanish, you let the tank pick it up, and then at 20% health, you nuke the boss. It's pretty easy. It's just a lot of damage at the start. But yeah, we'll get that one down pretty quick. And now Kel'Thas. I mean, I could talk about Kel'Thas for fucking ever, but I'll try to go quick.
Yeah.
Let's deal with his trash first. A couple of new trash mobs.
Lady
On
Dash
the
on
way to
steroids.
yeah, like these things suck. So pretty much tanks, we gotta face all these mobs away against the wall, whole threat on all the mobs on one group. We can pretty much AoE them down, and healers need to dispel Hammer of Justice on the tanks on these packs. The Blood Knight is the healer. Flash of Light, Renew, Hammer of Justice. The Battle Mage, Blizzard, Cone of Cold, Frostbolt, Volley can be kicked, and then the Centurion does Arcane Flurry, which does massive damage to a random target. So let's see how they handle this pack. Looks like they're getting some CC out here, which we will definitely do. Get a pull, bud. They're killing the healer first. Stack them up. They pull them LOS in case these mages up here start doing the Frostbolt volleys. They got them feared and trapped. So we'll probably do something similar like that for these, and then we'll get to the point where we'll just cleave them all down. All right, let's get to Kel'Thas. Those are just all the new mobs to Kel'Thas. This pretty much you guys all need to go watch a video. Platinum WoW has a good like 8-minute guide on this fight. I'll go through the basics, but there's just a lot to it, and we've already been talking for a while, so there's 5 phases of this boss fight. Phase 1, we kill his advisors, all these ads standing next to him, and we kill them one by one. We kill the warrior first, and it's important to note we got to kill them, and where they die is important, is what I'm trying to say. Because later on in the fight, they all res at the same time, and you can't have them all grouped up. So the first mob is easy. Thaldred, I think his name is. He's a warrior. He is really slow. No one needs to be in melee range of him. Whoever has threat needs to just kite him in the back of the room. He needs to die in the back of the room. And if I'm not mistaken, it's not even whoever has threat. He just randomly gaze. It's called gaze, and he just fixates on a random player for 9 seconds or something like that. So whoever he's gazed upon needs to be paying attention and kite him to the proper spot. Important to note too, melee. If you are not being gazed and you're DPSing this guy, and the gaze is about to wear off that he is currently has on a player, you are risking your life if you're staying in there, because he can gaze you, and if you're in melee range, he will one-shot you. So before gaze ends, melee needs to back off, is what I'm trying to say, and it's every 9 seconds. If you get hit by him, he does a knockback, and you need to stay away from him if you have any spells you use, because he does an AoE silence 8 yards. Okay, so after that is Lord Sanguinar. He does an AoE Fear, Tremors Down, and he does a Thrash, which is like a Wind Fury that hits the tank twice. We will tank him. We will tank him kind of where he spawns. He's got to die up there. Next one is Capernian. It's the mage. We'll have a warlock tank her, and we'll have the Searing Pain spam. She'll stay still and just cast Fireball right there. She needs to die where she spawns. And then Master Engineer Telonicus is the final one. This guy sucks. He throws bombs like the Tex and Blackwing Lair at random players, and he puts a debuff on a random player called Remote Toy, which is a pain in the ass. It lasts a minute long, and it will just randomly stun you within that minute for 4 seconds, just randomly. So this can be a problem if he puts it on a tank. Oftentimes, we will just stop DPS, let that debuff fall off if it goes on a tank, because if the tank gets stunned randomly for a minute, for 4 seconds over a course of a minute, it's pretty much a rip. He will die where he's at pretty much as well. So that's phase 1. Just going through this real quick, I know. Phase 2 is when all these fuckers are dead. He's going to spawn a bunch of the legendary weapons. We will tank all the weapons right here where I'm circling. We will drag the 2-handed axe about where Skull's at right now out of there, because it does massive AoE damage. And what's the other one we drag out? Oh, the Hunter Bow. We'll have a Hunter tank the Hunter Bow over here while we AoE all the other things down. So here he's gazing some player, following them around. He's kiting him away. He just switched his gaze to this guy, switched his gaze to this mage. He almost got clapped. So he switches pretty quick. He's got to die in the back of the room, for our strat at least. So let me skip ahead to this. So they're dragging this guy into the corner, probably. Okay, they have the warlock just tanking her. She does the AoE, no melee on that guy. Melee's got to be careful here as well because of the bombs. Okay, so we're going to see him die. They have looks like they killed them, and a couple it will kill them in a little different spots. I like the engineer dead over here personally. You'll see why later. So here he's spawning his weapons. Here's devastation. He's dragging it out. He should be, at least somebody should be. The hunter is taking the bow away. The reason is a multi-shot, and I don't see where they took the axe at, but
What
yeah,
was the
here's the
fat
axe.
for?
Probably the staff can frost nova, so it's probably that, just in case.
Okay.
So yeah, so they're taking this away. Pretty much AoE all this stuff down. We need to have dedicated interrupts on the Cosmic Confuser because it will heal. And then once these things die, everyone needs to loot their appropriate weapons they're wiping here. But and the Infinity Blade too. It's important to note everyone will need one of those, at least if you can, to help with mind controls for the last phase. But everyone will get their weapon. You have like a second while the RP happens to go loot. You don't have that much time before all the ads then respawn. So they're wiping here, so it's kind of shitty to talk about it, but we're gonna keep going. So all the ads are dead. They're gonna, if they kill all these, now all the ads that you killed for phase 1 all spawn instantly together again. That's why you kill them at different spots. So it's phase 1, but now all at the same time instead of one by one. So they all respawn. This guy, who should be dead back here, which they didn't kill, will now randomly gaze players. He needs to be kited around while the engineer is throwing bombs, while the Blood Knight needs to be tanked in the corner so he's not healing the other ads, while the Warlock needs to be tanking this guy, while she's arcane exploding, so everyone needs to be aware of that and be out of melee range from her. So there's a lot going on in this phase. Everyone just needs to have their hats on straight, hat on a hat, their heads on straight, heads on a swivel, and know their job here and not freak out. It's chaos for a little bit.
This is definitely one of those fights where you just have to focus on performing your role well and don't worry about too many other things. Just focus on yourself.
Okay, so once you kill all the ads, so this is their phase 1, by the way. This is phase 1 from them. Once you kill all the ads from phase 3, which I don't know if we're gonna be able to see that from this group. Kel'Thas finally enters the fight, so they're actually doing pretty solid here. So they killed all the stuff. So the tanks need to get their bulwark. He's getting the sword too, which I'll probably get as well. Probably get the dagger actually.
The dagger is needed to break the
Mind
MCs.
control. So they all get a quick second before the next phase. I'm not seeing their DBM timer. All this stuff is going to res. They're doing a decent job by the looks of it. It's the same kill order as phase 1, by the way. See if they get to the next. Okay, they do. They get to see Kel'Thas for a second. Jesus. So Kel'Thas is going to, I think he spawns within 2 minutes of this, whether or not you kill the ads or not. So obviously if the ads aren't dead when he spawns, you're going to have a rough time. So he's going to, first things first, he does a fireball to the tank. Massive fire damage, 2.5 second cast. I don't think it's kickable. Flame Strike, he picks a random spot on the floor. This is phase 4. Once Kel'Thas, it is interruptible, so we need to kick that. The fireballs, Cursed Tongues, that kind of stuff. It does a lot of damage. Luckily, the shield that I pick up, it helps me a lot with that. Flame Strike, like I was saying, picks a random player, puts it on them, does fire damage to 8 seconds, 10 spots. It lasts for 10 seconds. It's a 3-second cast. He will mind control 2 to 3 players, making them attack the raid infinitely, mind control them. This is why I said we need to pick up the daggers. Many players that can use daggers has a dagger, or that can use daggers needs to get the Infinity Blade dagger, because one poke with the dagger breaks the mind control. So, Nim, you obviously will have the dagger. You'll be running around poking fools. Does another ability called Arcane Disruption. Just does arcane damage to players and disorients you for 10 seconds randomly. So something you got to deal with. He summons a Phoenix ad, which will attack the raid. The Phoenix ad does like a Hellfire type ability. I've seen this dealt. I've seen the Phoenix ad being kite by a hunter. I've also seen it being tanked. When it dies, though, all DPS need to switch to the egg that it spawns. Otherwise, after 15 seconds, it's going to turn to another Phoenix. So once you kill the summoned Phoenix, we switch all DPS to the egg. Obviously, not the melee. If it's across the room, it would be the range. So we got to focus that egg down. Can't let more Phoenixes spawning from eggs. When the Phoenix dies, it does an AoE explosion too, so just more damage. Every 60 seconds during this phase, Kel'Thas also will cast a sequence of 3 abilities. Shock Barrier, 3 Pyroblasts, and the Arcane Disruption. So the Arcane Disruption, like I was saying, does damage to all players and disorients them for 10 seconds. The Shock Barrier is a shield that absorbs 80,000 damage and prevents spells from being interrupted. This is important because he will cast this on himself and then start casting Pyroblast on me, and it will one-shot me. I have a couple ways I can live through this. One, shield wall, which is last case Ontario. Second one is the on-use ability of the shield that I have, which absorbs like 15,000 damage. So I use that right before Pyroblast hits me. Say if we're not killing the shock barrier enough, or if he casts shock barrier, pyroblast, shock barrier, then pyroblast or something like that. I have it for that second one. But pretty much when he casts this shock barrier on him, we need to do 80,000 damage in 10 seconds, and then kick the pyroblast afterwards. That's phase 4. I know I'm moving fast. Let's get to the last phase. There's a lot going on. This fight is a 20-minute fight every time you do it. A lot of RP going on. So once Kel'Thas reaches 50% health from phase 4, he briefly becomes invulnerable, and there's like a short little RP scene. It's pretty cool. He no longer will MC players or pyroblast, thank God. But he does this thing called gravity lapse, and all players are teleported to him instantly and can swim in the air for 30 seconds. There's a couple different things that are going on while you're running in the air, and you're doing damage while this is going on, like you're flying around doing damage. He does a nether beam, which is much like Cthulhu's eye beam. So when he does the gravity lapse and sucks everyone in, and we're all anti-gravity, we need to all spread out in the room, in the air, obviously be in range of everything still, because you can get eye beamed and it will channel to other players, and much like Cthulhu, you will die. Doubles damage on every jump. So and then the other ability going on is in the air, there's these small little black clouds. And if you touch it, a debuff goes on you that reduces your max health by 10%, stacks up to 90%. So you can potentially be at 10% of health pool if you are bad and running into all these clouds in the air. That's the fight. You DPS him down from that point on, 50% on. He will periodically do the gravity lapse thing again and toss you up in the air. And you can take fall damage if you are not paying attention. That's the fight. We'll go obviously into way more detail once we are at this and get some practice, but I can only say so much about it. But does anyone have any questions over any of this stuff?
Can you start over again for the raid 2 people?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we start at Hydros?
I'm actually recording it, so I will upload the VOD for everybody.
Why wasn't Baku's table in this explanation?
Yes, but for real, Tuna is recording it. So for any phase or for any Group 2 guys that missed some of this, it is recorded for your viewing pleasure. But yeah, questions. I guess since some of Group 2 is in here now, just what I said at the start, just expectations I expect from you guys is obviously I want I want good attitudes as far as expect progression, meaning expect wipes, come prepared, meaning bring multiple consumes, not just one flask, a couple. If you're using elixirs, a stack of those, some food. You need to reach out to your class leader slash ambassador slash officer slash me for help with enchants or consumables. We have a G bank. It's looking pretty good. We've had some donations. Everything helps. If you're someone asking for a lot of donos, make sure you're giving back, that kind of stuff. I keep track of all this stuff, so I know what's going on. But yeah, show up prepared, show up ready to learn, show up ready to kill some things, show up ready to die to some things, and show up ready to have some fun. It's gonna be a good time. New content with Quake is always the best. So I'm really excited to do these raids with you guys.
Always the best.
Show up crushing beers too.
Yeah, show up shit faced.
Never done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, trust me, I love to lead shit faced raiders on progression night. I love it. Sup, Volcane? Dude, I forgot my food buff. Kill
Or
you.
tripping on mushrooms and we lose you for the
Yeah,
next year.
I miss Debs.
Yeah, I miss Debs too. But
He's still in Blackling Lair to this day.
But for Group 2, we have a lot of people returning and all that stuff. We are thinking to make things smoother, and obviously we'll do a poll for this, because a lot of Group 2 guys have also reached out to me about this, about switching possible days and times to make it more efficient for everyone. We obviously won't do this unless it works out for the majority of everybody and will make everyone's lives easier. But that will allow some potential from like Group 1 guys to get on their alts and help out, stuff like that, when someone misses from Group 1 or Group 2 or whatever it is. So we may switch to like a Monday or Wednesday or something for Group 2. But like I said, that's not official. I don't want anyone freaking out over that. If you can't make those times, don't worry. We will make it work and everything. But we're just trying to get everything settled up for phase 2 content. But yeah, just know Group 2, it will make it work, and we'll get all this shit done. So
What would be the days, as you said? Would it be Monday, Wednesday, or would
we
we?
just have to take a poll, like have to take the pulse of everybody. So I don't know. It would just honestly be whatever works.
Yeah.
Like if everyone was like, yeah, Saturday which I'm just throwing this out here. I'm sure
Yeah.
Saturday isn't the day, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm down for whatever. So we're gonna set up like a straw poll in Discord, and I'll advertise about it, and you guys vote on days, and it may not change at all. So
And then the one thing that's really nice is that and I'm DC'd, by the way, is that the lockouts are separate, so you can do the I and SSC different days, or if you have people fill in.
yep, and another thing that now that I'm just thinking about it is the first Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. As far as Group 2 goes, I don't want anyone fretting if Group 2's raid isn't as smooth or whatever. We'll get things evened out and everything dead for everyone in an appropriate amount of time. It's just the first week or two with new content is always, a lot of people coming back, it's moving things around. So just need everyone to exercise some patience and just trust me when I promise you will see all the content. And as always, guys, if there's anything you're ever upset with, as far as management, as far as loot, as far as literally anything, my door is always open. The worst thing you could do is just bottle that shit up and just like G quit, or just no call, no show, or just just deal with it internally or something. When my door's open to help, it's my job to do that. So I need everyone to know that we're doing our absolute best to make everything work for everybody. It's a very hard task. I have great help. Shout out to all the leaders of the guild. And but like I said, we're here to help, whether it's enchants, gold, consumables, dealing with drama issues. You just need to voice your opinion to me in an appropriate, professional, adult type way, and things will get fixed. So another thing, while I'm thinking about it real quick, is that first Thursday is like, it's game night, baby. So we're going to raid ends at 12, but we will ready check at 12 to whoever wants to keep going. We're going to keep going. If you got to go, you got to go at 12. I got you to 12, but at 12, if you got to go, no problem. We'll fill your spot. We'll keep on pushing on. So if for some reason, if you're not in the new raids come Thursday, I promise you spots will be opening up throughout the night. So we also may add an additional Sunday night raid, something like that, to continue our lockout for this week. We have done that in the past with raids because Blizzard, for whatever reason, loves to release content on Wednesdays. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got to say there, guys.